last time I spoke, it was to 4,000 people, and if I did well, I was going to win $5,000. So I'm a lot less nervous this time. I won, which is awesome. I'm actually up for another $50,000 right now, which I'll talk to you about later. Anyways, since this is about ideas, that's what I will go for. I'm going to first tell you about the idea and how I had the idea, and then actually how I quit the idea and gave up, and then why I got started again and where that's taken us with the film. So, because I'm a storyteller, so I have to have a dramatic, sad part. So I grew up in Atlanta. I'm sixth generation Georgian, so really proud to be doing business here. I think it's funny that I'm called an entrepreneur because I don't make any money. I just spend it. Actually, one of the things that I do to make money on the side, not through my project, ironically, I was working on a commercial today and all week that some of y'all might have seen on Facebook. It's for a toilet, sink, and shower company, and they had me trying to find people with really good ideas that they had while they were like in the shower, brushing their teeth, or on the toilet. So today, I just came from producing that commercial, so it's pretty hilarious that we're talking about ideas now. Anyways, 5 years ago when I graduated from college, I worked for a rock band called Dispatch. And the band had broken up, and they had decided that by getting back together, they would be able to raise more money for Zimbabwe. They're all American guys. They met in college, dropped out of college because their band was really successful. They actually testified to Congress on behalf of Napster, because Napster is how they became famous. And they wanted to give back to Zimbabwe because a lot of their music had come from there, and their musical roots were African, even though they are from here. Anyways, they hired me to come on right when I graduated to help them reach out to young people who wanted to make a difference, because that's what I had spent my whole middle school, high school, and college career doing, was trying to engage people to make a difference. That you don't have to be a do-gooder to do good, that you could have a beer pong tournament and raise money for water in Africa, things like that. So they brought me on, and they wanted me to find a group of kids from Zimbabwe to come sing with them at Madison Square Garden. Well, Zimbabwe was a complete disaster, so I ended up finding a group of kids called the African Children's Choir to come sing with them at Madison Square Garden for this 3-day benefit concert where we raised $2 million for relief and development in Zimbabwe. And that summer was a really hard summer. I just graduated from college. I was actually about to move to Africa. I'd converted religions. I just was going through so much. Through that whole conversion, I went from being a wild, crazy party girl to wanting to fully do right all the time. And was just struggling so much with all of it. I missed my friends. It was hard. And meeting these kids who were all either orphans or they had one parent who lived on less than $1 a day. They were raising their families themselves at 7 years old. There was no way they were going to go to the first grade. These kids were the happiest people I had met in my entire life. They were way happier than any billionaire's daughter that was in my sorority. They were literally full of joy. And to be with them, you became full of joy as well. And to hear their story, your entire life changed. Everything. The second you hear one of these kids share their stories with you, your life is going to be different forever, because you're never, ever going to feel like you deserve more or you deserve better or you don't have things good enough, because these kids come from nothing. And through this one opportunity to go all over the world for a year or a year and a half and tour the world and sing, and they come here it's so cool. They come here, and through coming here, they end up getting an education, and their education's paid for through university. So these kids who wouldn't go to the first grade, now it's been around for 28 years, so they're now lawyers, doctors, human rights attorneys, pilots, famous news anchors, making way, way more money than I ever will as a filmmaker. It's really cool, and that's not why they think they come here, and it's truly not why they come here. They come here because they've been told that Americans, Canadians, Germans, people in the UK aren't as happy as they are, and they need to sing to give us joy that they have. It's amazing, right? And so my favorite thing about the story is I had spent all of middle, high school, and college thinking like, oh, white man's burden, like I need to make a difference. Like I was born into affluence and I need to give back and give back and give back. And what I came to learn, thankfully, 5 years ago was that they're giving back to me. Like these kids have given me more joy than I'll ever be able to do. So meanwhile, we do that. I have this life-changing experience, but I had already signed up for the Peace Corps. So I left straight from there to move to Madagascar, where again, I found musicians to work with, to write songs about malaria prevention and HIV/AIDS prevention that these really awesome reggae artists would sing on the radio, because that's all these villages had. And again, I realized I'm here to give myself. Like, I think I'm sacrificing. Sorry, I don't know why I keep, like, blowing, but I'm really passionate. I think I'm sacrificing running water and electricity to help y'all, these people in my village, but really they were just life-giving to me. Like, I'm so full of joy and happy and have so much energy and passion to make a difference and to speak to people like you every day. Every person I meet on an airplane, I want to try to share this story with, because it's not us that is going and doing good. It's Africa. I need Africa more than Africa needs me. So anyways, we got evacuated from the Peace Corps. There was a coup. I came home to Atlanta and started working at CNN. And CNN was my dream job. I always wanted to be a journalist, a storyteller, make a difference. So I was working there. I worked on the 2008 election. This is my first non-journalism election year, so it's really weird. And I would pitch and produce my own stories about homelessness, greening, like bands like Dave Matthews Going Green, and a lot about child sex trafficking in our city in Atlanta. And through that, I kind of got burnt out. After a year and a half, at age 23, I was burnt out. I had worked 100 hours a week for a year and a half straight without taking a day off. So one of my friends basically kidnapped me and took me to Uganda, where she had a nonprofit, and said that I was going to lead a trip with her for like 20 other 20-somethings, just like, you know, get back to Africa, get refilled, which is hilarious because most people think you go there to give, but that's where I go to get filled, and I think anyone would if they would just go. So we go to Uganda, and I end up running into the African Children's Choir, literally like running into this family from Austin that had moved there to work for them. And I got to see the kids again that I had been with in New York and to see how well they were doing. And after a year and a half at CNN, I had unfortunately realized that there are a lot of nonprofits out there that aren't necessarily helping. A lot of nonprofits that are spending money without seeing returns. The book had just come out called Dead Aid, about how, you know, the global West has given billions of dollars to Africa, and none of it has really helped. So I was really discouraged, and to see that the African Children's Choir was working and succeeding, and these kids were learning and becoming leaders in their own communities so that people like me wouldn't need to exist anymore, was really thrilling. So this time I had a camera. I whipped it out and filmed every minute I could with them. And then I came home. I was in a wedding, and at my friend's wedding, I raised enough money from the guests at the wedding to be able to take a leave of absence from CNN for 3 months and go all over the world with the choir. So I traveled for 3 months all over Africa. The choir is actually Pan-African, so they're in 7 African countries, and they perform worldwide. You know, they've been to every continent, maybe not Antarctica, but who knows, maybe soon. And so I did this, and I ended up writing a 30-minute film about the African Children's Choir that I convinced CNN to air, even though CNN doesn't air much international stuff now. So I got CNN to air it, got CNN to air it, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm 23 and all of my dreams have come true. You know, I didn't even know that this is what I wanted to do, but it feels amazing. This is what I was meant to do with my life. I'm done. And then I realized how few people actually saw that film, and how few people my age watched CNN, and how few people around the world were able to relate to this story in a news format. So I decided to leave my dream job, where I was, you know, kind of on a fast track to be able to tell stories like this and make a difference, I thought. but no one my age was seeing it, and it wasn't making a difference. So I quit my job at CNN and decided to make a feature documentary film about the African Children's Choir, and my goal is for 1 million people to see it. So for a year, I worked tirelessly, freelancing at CNN and the documentary unit to learn how to actually make documentaries, because I tend, and I guess maybe it is the entrepreneur in me, I tend to do things that I don't know how to do just because I want to do them. So learning how to actually do it, and I would offer like nonprofits in Cambodia, across Africa, across the US, that if they would pay for my flight and give me a place to stay, I'd make a little film for them for free. So I did this for a year and tried to raise money for the film so that we could actually make this happen. And to make a really long story short, I ended up raising $120,000 and having to give it all back because I had no idea what I was doing or how charity worked from a production or manager point of view. So I quit. I said, this is too hard. I can't do this. Like, I'm not cut out for it. I don't know what I'm doing. And I got offered an incredible job at a company in Atlanta, a startup called Better World Books, which hopefully y'all are familiar with. Really cool company doing really amazing things. It was the founding B Corp in Georgia. And they offered me a job to do exactly what I wanted to do, but for them, to tell stories of how they were making a difference and have the world find out about it. So I did that for a year, and every single day when I was there, I felt like I wasn't doing what I was put on earth to do. I feel like my only choice, and literally why I'm here right now, is to make this film. I'm gonna cry. My director just walked in. She's the one making the commercial about the people on the toilet with good ideas. So anyways, I realized that, and so I decided to quit for a second time, my second dream job that was actually paying me to make a difference, because I knew that this is what I had to do. So I'm doing it. So I think my theme and what I want you to get out of this is when you have an idea, and it's not just in your head, but it's also in your heart, and it's not just in your heart, but it's also in your head, you have to do it. Even if something amazing happens and it looks like you have this dream job that's going to pay you, if you have an idea in your head and your heart, I think you just need to do it. So I hope you do. Oh, and since I'm not making money like the other entrepreneurs, I need money. So you can buy really beautiful African necklaces and bracelets from me and help us win $50,000 by coming up after the next speaker and voting for us to win. Thanks.